The single biggest thing that separates elite defenders from average ones in college football 26 is the ability to user well. In this video, I'm breaking down the 5 fundamental techniques that make your user even better, from which player to actually user on to even the switch stick technique that will allow you to pick off every single pass. You're not going to miss out on any of the tips or tricks I break down today, but I will warn you, if you do skip out on any of them, it could be the reason your defense is still trash here in CFB 26, and I wouldn't want that to happen to you. So let's jump right into it. The reality is everyone thinks about pass defense when they hear the term good user, but if you can't stop the run, no one's going to pass the ball on you. So let me show you exactly how to stop the run with your user here in college football 26. Alright, so there's a lot of different ways to actually be able to stop the run here in this game, with your user, right? You could use the automatic run defense from mid blitz or from cub, like standing inside the butt of the D tackle, then walking in the backfield to dive tackle. But honestly, I don't think that that's the most consistent thing that you can do, right? I think because you see how that time I missed, even though I'm not really supposed to, because you put a flame icon over your head, and then this time I do walk in the backfield. So I feel like this one's good. I would say it's not 50%, it's more like 85% of the time that it'll work when you retarget the offensive line to get automatic run defense. But I believe that will be patched one day, maybe in 27. So what I'm about to show you is going to work year over year to make sure that you're able to actually stop the run with your user, which is actually just standing 4 yards over the guard like this and then looping around to gap shoot. You notice how I know that this is an inside zone run that they're calling. I know that the running back is going to try to take the ankle right there where I filled, going from right to left. So that's where I'm going to meet him. I'm going to loop all the way around the offensive line, find the gap that I need to run through, and then I'm going to press X on Xbox or square on PlayStation to dive tackle this ball carrier in the backfield before he has the opportunity to speed boost away or get into a tackle battle with me, which the tackle battles normally favor the offense. But again, the user positioning is super important, because what a lot of people think is that, hey, let me stand right here. They're calling it inside zone run. I'm going to stand right here. But the reality is when you do that, that just makes it very easy for the guard to just block you. And you're a linebacker against an offensive lineman. He's going to block you very, very easily. So you need to make sure that you're far enough back so that he can't touch you, because the advantage that you have over that lineman is actually the speed of your player, right? And so that's what makes the user defense so important, is not only standing in the right spot, but then using the correct technique to loop around the offensive line and then find the gap that you need to tackle the ball carrier in. So again, boom, take it. We're going to loop all the way around, and then I'm going to dive. Now, that's the thing. It takes practice, because the dive tackle isn't when you have heat seeker on, it's going to make it easier, but it's not automatic. The automatic run defense is really easy because the AI will do it for you. But it's here, this is more up to your user. So again, boom, take it. And then you always want to make sure you're under control with it. You don't want to be running too fast. I felt like I was a little bit too fast on that last play when I missed. But right here, we're more under control. We're not necessarily holding turbo the entire time. So, because we know we're going to get to our spot. We know we're going to be able to beat this running back to his spot as long as we go, as soon as the quarterback touches the ball. You see, as soon as Ty Simpson touches it, now I'm moving over there. And so I'm under control, and then I'm just going to, press X on Xbox, square on PlayStation to cut out his legs and prevent him from being able to go anywhere. But like I said in the intro to this video, it's if you can't stop the run, no one's going to pass the ball. So this is really the start, the foundation of having a good user, is actually working on your gap shoots, because this, again, is going to work in 27, 28, 29. It doesn't matter the year. I've been doing this ever since I started playing Madden in college football, gap shooting every single run in the backfield, and it's super easy to do against inside runs. Again, 4 yards over the guard on the halfback side, take the snap, find the gap that you need to run through, and then press X on Xbox, square on PlayStation to cut out his legs and get that suction dive tackle. But really, that's the level 1 foundation of actually having a good user, is stopping the run. All right, next I want to break down something that too many players miss, and that's actually who to user every single play. This is very simple, but not enough people understand it. Let me show you. Alright, so you always want to be using a linebacker here, alright? So it's always going to be a linebacker. I would say I probably use a linebacker 98% of the time, and then sometimes with a very specific blitz, I might use a safety to start the play. But most of the time, it's just going to be a linebacker. I would never recommend you use a defensive lineman. First, we'll actually talk about the run game, what I just showed you. If you were to use a linebacker against a defensive lineman against the run, we'll just have them call base. you're not going to be able to perform the same gap shoot technique. Now, that's the AI making that play for you. So it's like sometimes, yeah, you'll get lucky the AI makes the tackle, but it's like a good offensive user. If you're just using the defensive line, well, now I just am able to get out and turn that into an easy first down because, again, you're not there to shoot the gap with your user in the backfield like I showed you in the first segment, right? So against the run, it's very important, obviously, to user this linebacker right here, right? And then make sure you're standing in the right spot. But even against the pass, right? It's really important to user a linebacker again, because if we user a defensive lineman against the pass, well, now what's going to happen is it's basically like they're playing against the computer, because all they have to do is just manipulate your AI defenders, right? And good offensive players know exactly how the AI is going to play in this game, and so it's going to be very, very easy for them to just attack every coverage that you could possibly run. Like, you're just going to be able to see how, they might play good defense, but I'm just able to roll out with my quarterback, or I really could have just hit that drag immediately if I really wanted to. So again, boom, we're going to take the snap where they're going to have no user, and so I'm just going to be able to throw that slant over the middle of the field to my tight end, whether it's man coverage or it's zone coverage. So against the run, against the pass, you could never user a defensive lineman, but also you don't want to user a deep safety, right? Maybe if you wanted to move, like against cover 3 buzz, it's like you have this guy in a hook, so he's basically a linebacker, but you never want to user Bray Hubbard or any type of deep zone safety, because again, the reality here is if they just call a deep post, right, or they call a route concept something like this, where you take your user defender and you're just lurking. Oh yeah, I'm guarding everything. Well, now they can just throw that deep. If they have more time, they could have just thrown that deep post to that B receiver over the top, where it's like, this guy, this user, you only want him to play. All I need him to do, this defender, is to guard this area of the field. Because again, if I take him, I make him my user, and then I'm trying to lurk a crosser or come down and be really aggressive, take away a drag, well, now I just leave it really easy, make it really easy for them to call a deep post and then hit it over the top. So you have to make sure that you're actually not using any deep zones, not using any safeties, because again, you're just peeling them out of position to take away the deep portion of the field. Versus when you're actually using a linebacker, right, you're able to get your pass rush from your D lineman, right, because you're not using them. Your safety is going to be playing deep, and their deep zones exactly how you need them to, but now you're better able to guard over the middle of the field, right? So if they call like a mesh concept, right, I'm actually going to be able to come down and play really aggressively, take this away, my hook takes away the other one, and then I'm able to come up and take away that backside dig if I needed to. But by that time, a lot of time the pressure is already going to be there. So it's like, against the run, you never want to use a defensive lineman, because then you won't be able to shoot the gap, right? Against the pass, you don't want to use a defensive lineman, because they can just double team you and then have all day to actually throw the ball, right? And then you don't want to use a safety against the pass, because then you're just peeling your guy out of position and giving up big plays. So bottom line here with this tip, always use a linebacker here so that you can lurk over the middle. You're getting your good pass rush. You're able to take away this deep portion of the field with your safeties, and overall, whether you're running zone or man, your coverage is going to be a whole lot better. Alright, so if you found this user alert guide helpful here in College Football 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down College Football 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day to help you guys get better, and you don't want to miss out on any of the content that I have. But if you want all 5 of these user alert tips to save on your phone during gameplay, so you never have to go surfing through this video or others to figure out where you need to be with your user and how to have a better user, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CFB University, where you can use code VOLT to get your first month for 20% off. I have my full Alabama offensive ebook in that VOLT, along with all the tips that are going to help you on offense and defense here in College Football 26. So it's really the best way to get better at the game and learn really quickly. So I highly recommend you check it out at the link down below in the pinned comment, and let's jump right back into the video. Because the next thing that I want to break down is actually how to user correctly, because I showed you how to stop the run with your user, I showed you who to actually user, but now actually how do you go about having a good user defender? Let me show you. Alright, so this is perhaps the most important tip that you'll see all year here on defense, especially if you're struggling with your user defender. So we now know that we need to user a linebacker. So typically it's going to be our middle linebacker right here, Lawson, okay? But this is what so many people still don't understand. It's like, where am I supposed to be with my user? Just because the play tells you that you're in a mid-read, right? You're not necessarily solely listening to that, right? It's like, okay, that's telling you where your defense would be weakest if you left. You kind of need to understand in your head that there's going to be no one else on the field in that area if I don't guard it, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be there every single play, all right? Because you see where this circle is. It's all the way back here, which if I come stand right here, like in front of me, like all the way down here, there's all this grass. So you really need to guard all this area and all the way up here. So that means that you have a lot of area to cover with your user, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you're gonna be there every play. It's all about recognizing what the offense is actually doing. So that's what I'm gonna show you right here. So first of all, you're gonna see how this running back is on a swing route, all right? So this kind of connects back to what I just showed you, where it's like you don't have anyone in this kind of middle of the field. So if you were to take your user, which too many of you guys do, if I'm gonna come all the way over here, take away this running back, look at how wide open the middle of the field is because I just left that area. There is no reason for me to leave the middle of the field right there to take away this running back route, which really isn't even like open. Like it's still behind the line of scrimmage. I have no reason to come down here. This would be an example of a really bad user because you're simply playing way too aggressive and then giving up this drag, giving up this crosser, and then if they had more time to throw, you'd be giving up this backside dig as it breaks open over the middle of the field. So you need to make sure that you're, yes, reading the player, because that's kind of telling you where you probably should be. But here's another reality, what I just showed you, where it's like, okay, if they were to call this route concept right here, which is a really bad play, but then they have their wide receiver on a drag, right? All I have to do in this play when they hike the ball is user this. There's no one else that could get open on this play, right? So it's like, it's all about finding work with your user. Because if I were to call the same exact play right here, okay, boom, like again, terrible route concept by them, but I just drop back like how the game's telling me to. That's the game's telling me I need to be in this mid read all the way back there. If I do that, this drag's wide open. And like that's an easy completion for them, and that's a good play, a positive play for them, even though they called a horrible play and all you actually needed to do was take away this drag. So that's where I mean, like with your user, it's all about actually recognizing route concepts and seeing where you actually need to be based on the route concept that they call. So what you're going to see right here is, again, we're actually going to put a cover 3 defense on the field, right? And so but I'm not going to put a flat on the right side, right? I'm not going to put a flat on the right side. I'm going to have a flat on the left side. And so now they're going to call a mesh concept. So I know that I don't have a flat on the right side. So all I need to do is use this Ryan Williams drag and then let my hard flat on the left side take away the tight end drag. So that's what we're going to see right here. Boom, we blitz, we take this away, and now I'm able to let my other zone on that left side take away the drag underneath over here to the tight end, and the hook zone did a good job of guarding it as well. And then I'm over here to take this away because, again, if I didn't guard this, there's no one else on this side of the field to take it away. And then I'm also kind of here to take away Jim Miller over here as well. But the reality is, sometimes players call good route concepts where they would just hit this backside dig because your user's not there. So it's like the thing about having a good user, and we're going to talk about switch stick later because that also adds another layer to this. But what you really need to do is find work with your user and make sure you're in the areas where the rest of your team isn't, right? So if they were to call like a post route on the tight end, well, I know that's going to be my user's responsibility right here because there's going to be no one over the middle. So I see it, I find it, and I guard it. So really what I'm telling you here, quick recap with this segment here, how you have a good user, how you use it correctly. You find work with your user over the middle of the field. I'm not telling you could never leave the middle of the field, but typically that's where you're going to want to be with your user, understanding their play, understanding the defense that you have on the field so that you know where you need to cover for and what routes you need to take away. All right, before I jump to those final 2 usering tips here in College Football 26, I wanted to remind you to go down below, hit that subscribe button. College Football 27 is coming up not too long, but I'm still breaking down CFP 26 tips and tricks to help you guys get better every single day, finish the year out strong so you're ready to go when the new game drops. So what are you thinking? Go down below, hit that subscribe button. It's literally free, and let's jump right back into the video. Because next I want to take your user to another level. I just showed you how to use it correctly, but now I want to show you how to incorporate the switch stick to make your user defense even better. Let me show you. All right, so we're going to be talking about switch sticking here because the reality is with your user defense, you are going to have to switch stick if you really truly want to be good with your user, because what good offensive players will do, and I kind of hinted at this earlier, is they will call route concepts to where you can't user with one defender. Like, you're not going to be able to take away their whole play with only one defender. And this is a great example of that, because what you're going to see is we are going to take this snap. I come down here, take this away, but now look what I leave open. That tight end crosser over the top for a huge gain, because I really needed to come down and take away that drag as it was breaking over the middle, because I did have a hard flat on the field, right? I did have a hard flat out here, but if I wasn't here with my user, they could throw this drag right now. Like, if I'm not here, they could throw this before it gets over here to the hard flat, and then they're able to pick up like 4 or 5 yards. So I really needed to guard that drag. But then I come down with my user, and I don't have good enough defense to be able to stop this crosser as it's breaking over top. So that's where, really having a good switch stick defender, comes into play, because now what I'm going to do is I'm going to call the same exact play. I'm going to have my drag, I'm going to have my crosser, I'm going to, call a play like this, where now what I have to do with my user is switch stick onto my hook curl, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to guard this, then I'm going to switch stick here to take that away, to take away the crosser, where I do a good job of taking away the drag underneath. I come down with my user to make them think I'm going to guard it, and then really I'm just going to switch stick. So again, right here, they take the snap, they see, boom, I'm jumping right into the spot where they would throw this drag. Like, no one's going to throw this. Their eyes are going to be peeling off of it, getting onto their next read, which is going to be the crosser. And so now my user's already right here, though, to take away their crosser. And so now I'm actually able to guard it, or now we have good defense, because again, I take away their drag initially, right? And now by the time it's open, I already have my hard flat over here, so they're not going to throw that. And then I'm here to take this away, their crosser, and then look at their backside dig, though. I have my hook dropping to the area where their backside dig would be thrown. So this is a good play by them. Like, this is a good route concept, but actually it was better route concept than I had defense in the field. But because I have a good switch stick and I have a good user right off the snap, and then I switch stick to add another layer to my user, I really make that a successful rep for me, where no one's open and we're gonna be able to sack the quarterback very, very easily. So that's really where the switch stick becomes the most valuable, because it's like, there's gonna be times where they call better route concepts, and then you have plays called and you have to be ready to switch stick with your user. But another reality is, because clearly I knew what play they were calling, I had the perfect defense to be able to switch stick. But the reality, though, is that there's going to be times where you don't know what play they're calling, and you still have to have a good user. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in a random pass play right here, and what we're going to do is just work on our switch stick. Right, we're going to read their route concept right off the snap, and we're just going to switch it around depending on where we actually need to be. So we're going to take the snap, we're going to kind of feel it, read it. We're going to see that, we really don't have to guard too much right here. That kind of wasn't a good play. So I'm not saying that you have to switch stick every play, but you do have to be ready to switch stick just in case you can't guard every good play that they have, every good route that's on the field, if you can't guard them all with your user. So again, boom, take the snap, we're going to guard this, then I'm going to see here, I need to guard that crosser. That's another textbook example of where the switch stick really becomes the most valuable, because look at this. I see their drag open. Okay, boom. This, if I'm on offense right now, I'm looking to throw this crosser, because I successfully got their user to come down, as they should, to take away this drag. So now I'm trying to fire this crosser. But then you see how I switched it, boom, and then I'm coming down to take away this crosser. Whereas if they throw this, I'm coming down aggressively and I'm going to be able to make that play. You also see how in this play, no one else is open, right? We do a good job taking away their seam. We take away their fade on the outside. We take away their running back out of the backfield. So everything's guarded. I just needed to take away this drag. This is an example of a high-low concept, where they have a drag, low, and they have a high. But I have to take away the low with my user, and then take away the high with my other defender, my switch stick. So that's really where the switch stick is going to add another layer, another level to your defense, because it's going to allow you to not only take away like high-low concepts, but really everything, right? They call street corner flat, for example, right? And we're in cover 3. Well, we're not going to be able to guard this unless we switched it. So we let them bring their motion guy, and now we just kind of play in between both, and we're able to take away their corner out and really guard it. So that's really where the switch stick adds another level, another layer to your defense, because when they just call better plays than you have defense in the field, you have to have a way to take away both routes, and really using the right stick to switch stick onto the nearest defender is the best way to do that. All right, and that last user trick that I want to break down here is something that not enough players know about, but it's going to drastically improve your ability to play user defense here. Let me teach you about user locking. Alright, so what a lot of people think about when we talk about having a good user, they think about pass defense. I showed you how important run defense is earlier in this video, but what's also really important is actually being able to user lock the offense and make sure that we're able to make our blitzes and our coverages better. So what we're going to do is, for example, you can do this from a lot of different defenses. User locking, I like it from nickel load mug the most. We're going to turn auto flip defensive play off here for this specific blitz, and then we're going to come into the left pirate 3-man custom stunt, because essentially what we're trying to do is overload blitz them off of one side, like I'm going to do right here, where we shift our defensive line to the left, and now we're going to have 3 defensive linemen on the left side of the offensive line. And so what you're going to see is if I just come out here and don't user lock, I don't get the attention of the offensive line, the center is going to slide over to make that 3-on-3, and they're going to be able to pick that up at least initially. Now, sheds are certainly a thing, and so that's what they're going to be able to do right here, where we do a good job of shedding. But it's like, you see how the center, he just slides over right here to make this 3-on-3, and it kind of nullifies the effect of our stunt. So what we're going to do instead to counter that is we're going to shift our defensive line to the left. We're going to press RB, right stick up to pass commit, to make our guys get off the ball just a little bit faster. But we have to make sure that we somehow get the attention of the center. Now, if you just press right trigger and left stick down, right, you're either going to run off sides, or you're not going to be able to get the attention of the center fast enough and early enough. So what you're going to do is press D-pad up, right trigger and left stick down to user lock, to get the attention of the center and make sure that he has no opportunity to block anyone else besides your user. So we're going to do, we have our D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down. And so as soon as the ball snap, we're just going to be spamming the A button to get off the block of the center and then get back into coverage. So that's what you're going to see right here. Boom, take the snap. I get the attention of the center, and that's what's going to allow for our defensive tackle right there, or sometimes your edge rusher, to completely walk in the backfield free for an easy sack. So we look at the replay right here. I'm standing over top of the center, 72. I get his attention by, pressing D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down. Now we make it impossible for him to slide over and block, and that's what allows for one of these guys to walk in completely untouched in the backfield. And again, the faster you spam the A button, the faster you're going to be able to get off the block. So this really is a user trick, a user technique, because it's like, this is what's going to allow for some of these custom stunts and blitzes to be able to walk in the backfield completely untouched. So, all we're going to do is, again, press D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down, boom, take the snap, get the attention of this man, and that's what's going to allow for us to be able to get that really good pressure. Now, what you're going to notice is this actually connects back to really, to the second tip I showed you, the third tip, and the fourth tip, because you need to user a linebacker to make this work, obviously, but then you need to find work with your user after you get off the block. So you see how I'm getting back over the middle of the field to take away this backside dig that would be getting open, because if I wasn't, they could just throw that before they got sacked. But again, I'm going to make sure I have a good user right here to take away this. And if I needed to switch stick to guard something else, my user's in a zone assignment, so I would be able to use the right stick to do it. So essentially, you're getting the best of both worlds here, where you're kind of user rushing them while still getting back into coverage by utilizing this user lock feature. So again, all you're going to do, stand over the center, press D-pad up, right trigger, left stick down, get his attention, then spam A to get off the block. You see how he kind of just blocks nobody on this play because I get his attention, and that's what allows for us to create this 3-on-2 stunt advantage right here to be able to get that easy sack. So really utilizing the user lock feature, one of the best defensive techniques that you can start using here, and it's really going to make it very easy for you to get more sacks in a hurry on the quarterback while still being back in cover. All right, so if you found that breakdown of how to user better here in College Football 26, make sure you go down below, hit that subscribe button. I break down College Football 26 tips and tricks just like this every single day that really no one else is talking about, and I promise that I'll have you ready to go for College Football 27. So what are you thinking? Go down below, hit that subscribe button. It's literally free. But if you want to join my premier program here for college football that's going to transform your game, go to the link down below in the pinned comment to join CF University, where you can use code VAULT to get your first month for 20% off. I have my full Alabama offensive ebook in there to guide you through offense, and then I have all my written tips to guide you through the meta and always keep you up to date. And the best part is you can save everything on your phone and always reference it during gameplay with videos and screenshots to help you out. So what are you thinking? Go down below, join CF University today. And if you want to see 5 tips to help your offense specifically here in College Football 26, check out this video right here. I'll see you over there. Peace.